AI and partnerships from the Capacity Building Commission to the lower welcome remarks.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mustafa. A very good afternoon to all of you, distinguished guests, panelists, fellow participants, colleagues from Viksit Bharat and Capacity Building Commission, and a warm welcome to everyone. Technology, they say, is a great leveler, and AI, they say, is the next big thing after electricity. We as individuals are part of society as individuals and a dual role of individuals. And we are deeply impacted by these two to an extent that we cannot distinguish between these two anymore. As the popular Bollywood line says, "Main aur meri tanhai" is actually me and my AI in current context. This room carries the huge responsibility of making that distinction happen. Responsibility is to carve out trust-based, collaborative, ethical frameworks so that the demands of fast-paced, dynamic AI DPG age, which constantly creates push of demands for faster, better, safer public services, is met by a well-informed design and delivery model. Today we gather here as a first step, aligned with the India AI Impact Summit theme, AI for economic development, social good, safe and trusted AI, and human capital. The need for collective discourse at the policy level is crucial, more than ever, to harness equitable benefits, mitigate risks, and to ensure an inclusive governance transformation. To carry these foundations forward, we have our distinguished panelists, we have our chairperson, and we look forward to listening to them. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Vashuma. I now invite our chairperson, Capacity Building Commission, Srimati S. Radha Chauhan, to deliver the opening address. Thank you.
Thank you, Mustafa. Namaskar. It's my privilege to extend a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Team Mission Karmiyogi. And I must disclose that this speech that I'm going to read out is handcrafted. No AI in the process has been used. Yes, absolutely. Being compliant. Our Honorable PM yesterday outlined Manav Vision, a human-centric framework for ethical, accountable, and inclusive AI governance. Mission Karmiyogi has and shall continue to relentlessly craft and embed these very capabilities that will translate this vision into reality. Public service today must evolve at a pace hitherto unprecedented. It must learn continuously, develop deep competencies, and dynamically adapt to eternally emerging work and workspaces. Underpinning this competency and skill is the humanistic capacity, that non-negotiable layer of intellect, diligence, and values that has to flavor every decision made and every service delivered by governance and its systems. From the community health worker delivering nutrition to an expectant mother, to the policymaker strategizing access to specialized healthcare. It is the quality of this human layer that will ultimately define the quality of service we deliver to our citizens. The future of AI, more precisely the agentic AIs, will not be in massive monolithic models. It will be in small language models, context-specific, sectoral, and decentralized. This would entail creating the customized, sector-specific competency framework that can suitably deploy AI agents to arrive at decision points that solve local needs and problems in its context. Capacity building must therefore focus on enabling our officials to deconstruct complexities, impose appropriate guardrails on data and its use, Before evaluation benchmarks, before using the agentic insights to taking decisions. In the past years, the Commission has developed holistic policy frameworks that have been tested and institutionalized, established operational guidelines, especially those for identifying competency gaps, leading to personalized learning pathways for each one of our learners. Dynamic governance models have evolved for stakeholders, especially our training institutions, ensuring they remain agile and responsive to competency demands. Continuous learner feedback loops, rigorously analyzed, have become integral to refining and strengthening the system. The IGOT community portal stands today as a testament to this remarkable trajectory. It has delivered capacities effectively at scale and across the humongous diversity of India's governance ecosystem. It is in the context of this evolving journey that we see today's event as an opportunity to take that leap grounded in deep faith that Mission Karmyogi, as a public good, must inform every other government that is on a similar and seminal mission to deliver inclusive, ethical, and impactful public services. I sincerely hope that this deliberation here forges a cohesive and common pathway for all of us to embark upon as global partners. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for placing the panelists through the address, placing everything into the context for the panel discussion that is to follow and the remaining proceedings of the evening. Now, I take great pleasure in inviting the panelists for today's discussion and our moderator, Mr. S. Ramadurai, sir. May I kindly request the panelists and Ramadurai, sir, to join us on the dais? Today's panel discussion will be moderated by Mr. S. Ramadurai, Chairperson of Viksit Bharat and former MD and CEO of Tata Consultancy Services. Mr. Ramadurai is a respected leader at the intersection of technology, governance, and institutional building. And he has led key initiatives across academia, industry, and public policy institutions, including as the advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister in the National Council on Skill Development. We welcome you, sir. On the panel, we are joined by Guilherme Alberto Almeida from Brazil, a civil servant at the Ministry of Management and Innovation in Public Services, Government of Brazil, working at the intersection of governance reform and digital transformation. Anirudh Srivastava, Chief Architect for Google's work in the public sector. He currently leads the public policy strategic AI solution engagements of Google Cloud in India. And our final panelist for today, Robin Scott. She is the co-founder and CEO of Apolitical, a global online network of public servants. Thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedules. With this, I hand it over to you, Ramadurai, sir. Please. Thank you. So the mic's there.
Then I'll sit down. Well, good afternoon to all of you. Before I begin, I want to extend a very warm welcome to the panelists. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this. It will be a learning experience even for me for sure. After spending over 5 decades in the technology industry, I'm probably the oldest here. It fills me with immense hope to sit alongside a group of young leaders who are shaping the next chapter of this global technology revolution. Thank you for being here. I'm truly looking forward to the exchange. We look back at past technological revolutions. We rarely talk about the technologies themselves. Instead, we talk about what they enabled. Electricity is not celebrated because we built power plants. It is celebrated because it brought a revolutionary transformation to the quality of life. AI presents us with a similar moment. It gives us unprecedented power not to do things better, but to do better things. To rethink how we explore, educate, govern, create, collaborate, heal, and protect the people and the planet, most importantly. Then the most important question for the summit is not how fast we can scale AI, but how we will recognize that we are moving in a direction that elevates humanity. Some time ago, I read an article titled Building Bridges as Humanity's Greatest Legacy. In it, I spoke about India's civilizational instinct and how it has long leaned towards coexistence, cooperation, and balance, including shared progress. From Buddha to Mahatma Gandhi, India has consistently attempted to build bridges and promote peace and harmony across the world. We are entering the AI era at a time when technology is increasingly intertwined with geopolitics and, of course, conflict. That reality demands deep reflection because the choices we make today will determine whether AI becomes a nuclear race of the 21st century or the space race that will take humanity to the moon. Globally, AI is framed as a binary race, market led by experimentation in the United States versus state-led techno-nationalism in China. However, in my opinion, India offers a third way, in partnership, of course. For over 5 decades, India's IT industry built trust, reliability, and delivery capabilities across the world. Today, we have 5.8 million professionals. This legacy gives India a unique strength to deploy technology safely and, of course, responsibly at scale. We are seeing this approach to take shape on the ground. For example, the Tata AI Sakhi immersion program is empowering rural women, artisans to use AI as a tool for livelihood opportunity. India's AI journey is also uniquely grounded in the digital public infrastructure, which includes Aadhaar, identity, payments, UPI, documents, DigiLocker, and consent framework, the data empowerment and protection architecture, or DIPA as it is called, at a scale. These are not merely platforms, they are trust architectures. The next billion AI users may not interact with trillion parameter models. They will interact with tiny embedded AI in phones, tractors, classrooms, clinics, and local government systems. India's real opportunity lies in small language models that are absolutely domain specific and can run on edge devices, operate in low resource environments, and solve real problems. But I witnessed quite a bit of this during the walkthrough of the exhibits. As artificial intelligence becomes embedded across public administration, the challenge for governments is not limited to technology adoption. It extends to ensuring that public officials understand how these systems function, with their limitations lie, and how human judgment, responsibility, and ethical consideration must guide this use. Mission Karmayogi has established a model demonstrating that systemic technology-enabled civil services reform is achievable across diverse administrative contexts. Building on this institutional foundation, the next horizon is to embed AI within workforce transformation frameworks while contributing to the shaping of global norms on responsible AI in governance. In this context, the summit marks the launch of a blueprint for digital capacity building alliance. It sets out the shared framework for developing AI-enabled digital public good for public officials' capacity building. Let us take this conversation forward to see how the proposed alliance can be operationalized, how diverse partners can work together to translate the blueprint into sustainable actions. I'll turn over to the questions. For each of the panelists, I've got a couple of questions, but I'll just start with one or two to each of you. And they're slightly different for each, and none of them have been generated by AI. Again, a disclosure. So let me start with Aditya Srivastava, Google Cloud. Google is at the forefront of building global digital infrastructure and enabling AI adoption across enterprises and public services. The question to you, sir, Governments often adopt new technologies in fragmented ways. What technical and operational risks arise when AI systems are layered onto legacy infrastructure without structural reform? And how can initiatives like Mission Karmyogi help align infrastructure modernization with workforce capability development? I want to answer that before I ask you the next question, please.
So first of all, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here at Bharat Mandapam as part of the panel of esteemed experts, and we are talking about capacity building imperative for Viksit Bharat 2047. Uh, I think the question that Sir actually said is a very important question when we are in the journey of using AI in our day-to-day lives, and specifically, governments, and especially government of India, has a huge focus of using AI for making the lives of our citizens easier, and also the government, civil servants, lives to be much easier than the work that they do today. The kind of efforts that goes in to really sort of delivering citizen services, is there a way that we could actually leverage AI in really sort of solving for that? Now, to Sir's question, I think the key, it is a very important point that AI is not layer that you could just put on existing systems. The systems, the IT systems that were developed with the objective of solving specific problems. They, sure. Right. So the existing IT systems are very centric, and they were built with the view to solve a specific problem for the kind of technology that we had at that time. With AI, we are sort of looking to change the way the humans interact with the AI systems. The existing systems, they actually have silos of data, silos of business logic, whereas AI actually sort of look at this as more holistically. You need to really have a contextual data for you to train models to make it useful for you. And so we need to really sort of look at re-engineering some of our existing IT systems so that it can harness the potential of AI in solving some of the problems. So that is one point of view. The other is to really sort of prepare data so that we can train models, whether it is the LLMs or the SLMs, whether it is at the edge that we would actually have AI in a small device like a mobile device. ASHA worker could actually sort of go and can deliver services using AI in their own native language. So, we need to ensure that we support the multilinguality, the Indic languages, to deliver on those services. Now, to build those systems, we really need to not only change the technology, the underlying technology, but also the process that needs to be re-engineered. So that is one aspect that we should think about. Also, from a security perspective and data sovereignty perspective, we need to sort of relook at the exposure that AI brings to our existing systems. The kind of vectors that we actually are, the systems has been built today, we will need to have to relook at it. Some of the, vectors or some of the issues that we have today needs to be resolved. So that would be my perspective, sir.
Thank you. Guy, he told me it's very easy to remember his name because Guy is a Hindi word also. How can countries like Brazil and India collaborate more closely in shaping the global conversation around care, trust, and alignment in AI? What do you think are the areas we can collaborate together which will have the greatest global impact as AI becomes more autonomous and more deeply embedded in society?
Well, that's a fantastic question. I will try to bring some aspect to that, but I think we'll keep answering that until at least 2047. But the point is, first, I think Brazil and India are really close and can collaborate a lot. I can testify that because it's my fifth trip to India. We've been exchanging a lot technology-wise. When it relates to AI, I think we should consider different aspects. We just mentioned here data and data for training models, but I think there's strong room for collaboration when we talk about R&D, right? Because there's not only similarities but also complementarities. There are things that are complementary to one another. So I guess that there's strong room for cooperation and collaboration, but also in capacity building. I understand that I'm a great fan of the Mission Karma Yogi and the Capacity Building Commission. We have similar organizations in Brazil. I've been training civil servants as well through an electronic, an online platform. And I believe that digital infrastructure approach to capacity building is also a way to bring this to more people, to make this scalable in a way that we can actually change, build knowledge, build capacities, and make things change within government. Of course, we need to be careful about the risks of AI. In Brazil, we have developed a framework for ethical assessment of AI implementation. We have also provided some guides explaining not only how AI works, but what caution should you have when you're using AI within the public service. Of course, we should consider boundaries and safeguards in AI implementation, but we should not prevent from using it for the betterment of people's lives and to enhance our population. And I think that training and capacity building is crucial for that. In Brazil, we have built at least 4 different profiles for capacity building, one for senior leaders, one for IT managers, one for data curators, and the other for general civil servants, in which we organize the knowledge you're supposed to develop and to build in order to use AI properly and to build AI solutions. And I guess going back to the Brazil-India connection, I guess both nations are well positioned to, I would say, lead, but to conduct this conversation in a global perspective. I think that, and we have great partnerships with Apolitical as well. I've been working a lot with them. And I think that coalition of willing organizations building knowledge for AI in public service is something that could be built. And if you can bring a South-South flavor to that, I think we're better positioned to provide the transition we want to the governments and to the world.
Thank you. Robin, you work with governments around the world. What are the biggest gaps you see in AI readiness within public institutions? How can we shift the global conversation towards work reinvention?
Thank you so much. That's a big question. It is such an honor to be here. And this seating arrangement is particularly meaningful to me because we're not only honored to partner with the Capacity Building Commission and Mission Karmayogi, but we are long-standing partners of ENAP, the excellent Brazilian School of Government, and Google.org has funded us to provide world-class training for free on AI to 1 million public servants. And we 400,000 into that goal, including in India. So this particular configuration is very meaningful. And I also want to say something about Brazil and India, which I think links the two nations. In our experience working with them, they both understand that capacity building is not something that should be pushed to the side as an afterthought. It is an engine of innovation. ENAP has an innovation unit within its school, and it is strategic.
And especially with AI, it's more strategic because you don't get intelligent technology unless you have people intelligently supported to work alongside and in partnership with that technology. So I really appreciate the ambition and vision that both countries bring to capacity building. I'll point to just a couple of gaps. One is around ethical frameworks. You mentioned Brazil has one. Most countries have one. According to our data, this is an 8,000 person global survey of those people implementing AI in their governments. These are people whose job it is to roll out the technology. Only 26% say they understand their own government's ethical frameworks. So, in other words, 75% are freestyling. And that builds a great deal of risk into the system. We also have a gap between talk and ambition and evaluation and follow through. So when you talk to leaders, 72% say they have a pilot or will have one this year, but only 45% of them say they have a plan to evaluate the performance of that pilot. And there is no point piloting something without evaluation. There is a lot more to say, but I just want to end on a note of optimism. Well over 90% of public servants are very optimistic about the role that AI can play. And there's a $1.75 trillion productivity prize for getting this right, according to BCG. So we've got the optimism, we've got the energy, and these gaps are big, but they're not impossible to close.
Thank you. Just one final question, one of you can answer. As we expand AI-centric capacity building, scaling digital platforms, increasing compute, and embedding AI into public systems, all of us agree we must also confront the environmental footprint of these technologies. How can governments and AI companies work together to ensure that the AI-driven public infrastructure is also aligned with climate responsibility, energy efficiency, and sustainable growth? Any one of you can all agree with each other or confront each other?
Well, I can just offer, we have developed a course on AI and climate and understanding the links with the Stanford Doerr School of Sustainability. So we literally have a program to answer your question. I'll leave it there.
It may cost too much of money.
Well, I think there are two separate ways in which it could be framed. There's AI for green and green AI. So aiming for sustainability on the power you provide for the GPUs and so on is crucial. But also we could use AI to leverage the potential of climate policies. If you put together data, meteorological data from forests and so on, you can bring intelligence and knowledge, which could lead to better informed decisions. In Brazil, we have a system in which we mapped all the forests in private lands. It's the Rural Environmental Registry. And we're using AI to understand whether forests have been cut down or not. So we can use different AI tools to promote not only fighting deforestation, but also promoting reforestation. So there are several different potential tools, and they are all could be used. And if we can blend them together, can make even more.
So I would actually say that Google, first of all, has committed that by 2030, all our data centers will be carbon neutral, and we want to make sure that we want to partner with the government of India to ensure that all the data centers that we are building in the country should have some sort of targets to ensure that they are carbon neutral. And there are, designed from a civil perspective, but from a technology perspective, we could always build models which are energy efficient. So I would actually leave it at that, but I think that's a very important point for India as a country.
Thank you. Any one question from the audience, please? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't work? Somebody gave you the mic.
My name is Chandra Vikash. I'm interim
But
president.
you should have ladies first. I don't know why you. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Chandra Vikash, interim president for Earth Federation. I'll just take a metric of doomsday clock that was just reset on 27th January at 85 seconds to midnight. Now, just simply translate that in a 1,000-mile downhill journey on an overloaded truck with weapons of mass destruction that aptly describes our civilization today. We are at 80 meters to the edge of the precipice. That dangerous. We are being so cannibalistic of the future of our children. Should Viksit Bharat, my question is, should Viksit Bharat by 2047, which is actually procrastination of our responsibilities, we just don't want to own up what's happening today and what happened 20
I think, yeah.
should have come as a concert of civilizations by 2026 itself, right here, right now.
No, I think confrontation starts very early and a lot of activities are happening in the country. 2047 is a dream at centenary year of our independence. What we need to achieve is a roadmap. That's what is important rather than saying nothing is happening and suddenly something will happen in 2047. No more question here. Last question, please.
Thank you. I'm Professor Charu from Indian Institute of Public Administration. We met some of you. Thanks in regards to the audience. My question is with regard to a consolidated international lack of availability of frameworks in terms of AI procurement guidelines, in terms of AI ethical frameworks, in terms of competence frameworks. We do have UNESCO competence framework for AI, but we need to hyper localize it to contexts which Robin and I were talking in terms of various countries in another event. So maybe we need to have something, a more generic, collaborative, international AI impact assessment tool which could look into capabilities not just at the digital leadership level, but across the whole organization or country. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Any comments? She is an observation which is fine. Okay, thank you so much. Honorable Minister.
Big thank you to all the panelists and participants. We are also now joined by Honorable Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh Sir, Minister of State for Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, a visionary leader who has been at the forefront of administrative reforms, Mission Karma Yogi, and India's science and innovation agenda. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Sir, for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedule. What we just witnessed in form of a panel discussion is a small reflection of what the Capacity Building Commission and Karma Yogi Bharat are hoping to achieve through what we seek to announce today. May I now request Honorable Minister Sir to kindly launch the blueprint for forging a digital capacity building alliance by pressing the button on the remote right before him.
Being the world's largest democracy comes with a sense of pride. Imagine over 1.4 billion citizens 36 states and union territories, 800 districts, 4,000 plus urban centers, 6,50,000 plus villages, millions of decisions every day. And to govern at this scale, this pace, we need an ever-evolving system. So India built one. In 2020, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi launched Mission Karmayogi to build a future-ready, citizen-centric civil services. At the heart of it, the Capacity Building Commission, delivering capability with foundations of trust, empathy, and inclusion. Powering this is iGet Karmayogi platform, India's national digital learning platform, accessible anytime, anywhere. And now, the next leap, AI-enabled governance, personalized learning paths, smart decision support, from reactive systems to adaptive capacity building. Today, all governments, especially in the global south, face the same challenge, demand-driven and technology-disrupted, complex governance, need for agile institutional capacity. India has a working model, scalable, proven, a global public good. Today, the Capacity Building Commission unveils a proposal to forge a Digital Capacity Building Alliance, an alliance that fuses global AI principles, digital public goods standards, and the Mission Karmayogi model, a unique model for demand, design, delivery, and continuous evolution, with one single vision to build a shared, non-proprietary foundation for capacity building across nations. This alliance aims to bring together for capacity building a global forum to drive policy design and standards, industry to build digital commons and specialized solutions, academia for the network of knowledge, research, and incubation, civil society to champion systemic equity and ethical accountability, DPG partners to orchestrate ecosystem for scaled impact, startups to catalyze solutions and co-creation, steered by the Capacity Building Commission and Karmayogi Bharat of Government of India, a global public good for inclusive, ethical capacity building in the spirit of Sarvajan Hitai, Sarvajan Sukhai, welfare for all, happiness for all.
Thank you so much, sir, for launching the blueprint. May I kindly request Honorable Minister, sir, and all the dignitaries on dais to stand for a photograph. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. May I invite Honorable Minister, sir, to the podium to deliver the keynote address for the afternoon.
Honorable Minister, and already welcomed delegates and guests. So, when you walked in, we were in the midst of a panel discussion that, of course, you saw how it concluded, and Mr. Ramadurai was bringing the whole perspective of how does AI and its use pan out for the public services. What are the challenges by way of capacity building? The learnings that we have had under Mission Karmayogi, how valuable are they going to be to inform this whole journey that all the global partners, global governments, stakeholders are going to further take their steps towards? And the summit has seen the Honorable Prime Minister unveil the vision by way of manner that he explained yesterday, which is totally bringing in the layer of the need and importance of having a human-centric approach, the hands of the human in every decision that is being made that will impact citizens in every which way. So I think the whole capacity building is looking at that capacity and capabilities that we need to put in the hands of every public servant, from the secretary at the policy level to the community level frontline worker. How do they navigate, and bring in the intellect that is needed to make the correct, ethical, moral value based decisions when it's going to impact the humankind in general? I think we have had very fruitful insights from our partners, the panelists. And so this is almost a culmination of a long months that we have spent in discussing these issues with our stakeholders, whether it's from the industry, the partners, our service providers, academia, startups. We were able to bring all of them together today. And the document that has been unveiled by the minister just now is bringing all of those learnings and insights together to call for action in all of us who are working on as experts in our fields to come together, collaborate, strengthen each other's hands and responsibilities to forge that pathway with the human centricity that is required in handling the capacities that we have given to our baby, which is the alien and augmented intelligence. I think so that is where your keynote now would give us the further needed guidance that you think at the political leadership level. How do they view the whole capacity building space? And like Robin said, this is a very important but oft sidelined sector of public governance, but now we have the opportunity of bringing it center stage. I don't think we should lose this opportunity to take the leap with utter faith. Sir. Thank you. Sir.
Thank you, Madam Radha. Thank you for reminding me that you needed my guidance. And more than me, reminding all the others in the room that they have to listen to my guidance. But I know you've already done enough of that task. But thanks for your kind words and trying to encourage me to stand before this podium. Now, we are simultaneously talking about three things this afternoon. We're talking about governance, we're talking about capacity building, and we're also trying to bring in an artificial intelligence interface, which of course is in any case there, whether we like it or not. We don't have to do it, it's already there in every sphere of life, in every domain that we work in. Now, governance, if you take one by one, governance is a dynamic process, like many other processes in every domain that we are engaged in. So also is capacity building. It's dynamic, it's continuous, doesn't end. And the time that we live is such a fast track movement that by the time you prepare yourself for tomorrow, when tomorrow happens, you realize that you were only preparing for yesterday. And then upon that, the artificial intelligence and the role of it both in capacity building as well as in governance. And if you talk in the context of India today, when you talk of a framework which inculcates the best of all the three, I think the most encouraging feature is that we have a government in place, a political dispensation in place, which is supportive of all these ideas and all these initiatives. Till about maybe 15 years back, we wouldn't have ever thought of a theme like this gaining priority in an academic room of this nature. And therefore, this is a dispensation of the Prime Minister Modi, which is not only ready for futuristic ideas and initiatives, but also for future-ready ideas. And that means, while it looks very fanciful, romantic, talking about artificial intelligence, even if a grocer shop puts on a banner outside, they hear my items are sold through AI driven. I'm sure he at least be able to attract some more number of customers. So that's a new nature but at the same time, being very realistic, pragmatic, and Mrs. Radha has also been Secretary DOPT before she took over her present assignment. We are also ready to shed away some of the old baggage. So while we turn while we are ready to learn what is new, we should also have the capacity and we should be non-possessive enough to unlearn something which we held close to our chest for so many years. And I'm proud to say that in the last 1 decade, this government has done away with almost 2,000 rules, and that sin has not been committed alone by me. Madam Radha has been equally guilty of that. And that's because many of the rules were designed for the times that they were designed in. They wouldn't have thought of artificial intelligence about 100 years back. We were having rules which were haunting us for more than a century, getting our certificates, documents attested by an attorney before. So we didn't even know that. We have other means. And we also have now means to trust each other. So at the same time, also we have opened up doors to learn the new practices and to also, while learning new practices, to build capacity to learn new practices. So why capacity building commission sitting with the governance viewers? Because when you learn the new governance practices, you must also learn to build capacity to learn. So artificial intelligence, the basic mantra is to be able to be a good learner. And if you are not one, then to learn to be a good learner. And capacity building commission is one instrument which helps you do that. And this also was the idea which first time came from Prime Minister Modi. I think quite a novel idea for a government setup because usually governments are used to work in a status quoist mode. So we have a flavor of private sector. Balu is there, earlier we had Adil there. Because now we also got over the barriers of private and public sector. So unless we learn to learn from each other and also give up our skepticism, we will not be actually building up capacity to the optimal. We will be building up capacities which are limited by certain barriers, and that would not be an unbridled learning. So capacity building commission is there, Mission Karm Yogi was being talked about, was also their creation, I got, and all these are testament to the governance reforms being accomplished through optimum technologies. Now, this applies, which is being launched. Now, when we talk of digital public good, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm one of the few who are from the School of Sciences in this room. So, if you take out the first word, digital, and just concentrate on public good, you will realize that good governance was always synonymous with public good. So, public good essentially would be at the core of the good governance. It's just that now started using digital means, so it's fanciful and more because now we are into the age of using acronyms. So we say DPG. So now we are into DPG. But to a hardcore, old-fashioned science student like me, ask me, I would say nothing. It's just the same. Good governance, family good. And this government, right from the day one, has been emphasizing the Prime Minister himself. One of the earliest declarations was maximum governance, minimum government, which in other words means a government which is citizen-centric, which is accountable as far as possible, which is transparent, and the ultimate litmus test of which is to bring in ease of living. So all that DBG was happening earlier, only the announcement is being made today. Having clear that kind of a myth now, I think the Capacity Building Commission deserves appreciation because they were very much instrumental in helping us building up these new frameworks. And I must also congratulate Madam Radha and his team for this launch of Digital Capacity Building Alliance. But I think yes, you can clap. But the guiding principle, ultimately, all of us would agree, would be to build at a scale which is optimally integrated, to build with as much inclusion as possible, and build for others to learn and also to adopt. Otherwise, the very purpose of the alliance would not have been achieved. And therefore, for that purpose, artificial intelligence could be a powerful tool. But certainly not an end in itself. Now, in the same ministry, when we are already using it, from the experience that we have learned, that the optimal mix is something called, if I to the flavor of this audience, your acronyms will be AI plus HI. That means artificial intelligence plus human intelligence. And we learned that in a hard way while we were devising CP grams. We are feeling very proud that our disposal rate of grievances have increased to more than 95%, almost 100% per week sometimes. But everybody went back with a long face. So I told the then secretary, I said, grievance disposal 100%, happiness disposal 0%. We looked back and said, I said, no, that's something called happiness index being discussed in the West. So we actually had to introduce a human desk over there because everything was happening online, AI driven. The complaint would immediately reach the concerned desk. The reversal would come before you expected. Then the person would end up saying, ऐसा पता ही था यही करना था ऐसे ही बेकार किया था. So somebody there to console me, ऐसा. So that kind of so I think that hybrid model is something which is ultimately going to be effective by all means. As far as AI is concerned, the morning also I was listening to the IMF chief. She said India's progress in the AI initiative is phenomenal. So I think we have already received recognition from the global judges of global benchmarks. But that apart, what is suited to our conditions? Because a counterpart sitting in Europe may not be used to talking. They are not used to talking. Like for example, another example of hybrid model I will give you, we have, I think I'm the only member in the House of People who has a mobile teleclinic in my constituency. And there are two doctors. One is physically sitting there, the other is an AI doctor. She's a lady. Then they take the history, they digitalize it, do all the assessment, connect it to one of the leading hospitals. You have paneled 3, 4 of them, connect to the super specialist there. And get the timing where the prescription is furnished just about 40, 50 minutes. It's a very lucrative health startup now. But of course, we are doing it out of philanthropy. So when the patient comes, the physical doctor talks to him. But he feels more gratified when the AI doctor talks because she talks exactly the same dialect or better than what he talks. So when he speaks Bhojpuri, she will speak better Bhojpuri. So half the disease is over. And I'm not talking without evidence because in medical parlance we have something called placebo effect. And Indians are usually used to placebo effect. If you get well, Maa ka Ashirwad. If you don't get well, Pichle Janam ka Karam. So you have such homemade beautiful placebo. So that may not be there in European concept. So as they say, Indian data for Indian solutions, Indian treatment for Indian. So we need to have, however much digitalized we go, maybe other nations or counterparts may not really require that, but we will always be requiring it. And I think with this alliance, the Peter model that Madam Radha has suggested, we would be able to engage more and more value addition and by preparing this draft chapter with a content standard and the evaluation framework that is required. But in the end, I will just pick up on what she said, the Manav part of it, which the Prime Minister spoke yesterday. Now, how many in this room actually have been able to decipher what was meant by that Manav acronym? No. Not a single hand has gone up with confidence. So I think before you leave this room, if you have a iPad or a notebook, please take it out. M stands for moral and ethical systems. A stands for accountable governance. N stands for national sovereignty. And second, A stands for accessible and inclusivity. And finally, V stands for validity and legitimacy. Now, this happens when we do not have the capacity to learn the term, we have the capacity to learn the acronyms. And very soon, the artificial intelligence will take up this much capacity also. we immediately press it. What is that, Bharav? The other day when I was watching this large language model, and we said the language barrier is over. So I said, maybe, but along with that, we have also buried that beautiful breed of linguists that we had in the earlier generation. We fancy people who know more than five languages, could speak more than five languages, six languages, so many of them. Now we are at the risk of even forgetting our own language. We have someone else to do it for us. So that's why, in the end, I think the two reasons, because I've been into this AI business quite deeply for the last almost half a decade. I've been trying it in different fields. So the ultimate, I think, moral which I draw for myself, because these days you can't be drawing for others because everybody has the prerogative to learn for himself, is that one has to be intelligent enough to use artificial intelligence. Otherwise, don't get into this business. And B, which is I think the tagline also for some of the media persons if they are there. Artificial intelligence can substitute everything on this planet, but it cannot substitute integrity. Now, whatever you do, the other day when we launched this tele-robotic 3 days back, I heard somebody said now we will be able to get rid of these fetal infanticides happening. I said, oh. He said, no, because the doctor is sitting thousands of kilometers away doing an ultrasound on a lady who's 1,000 kilometers away. So he would not be able to actually do any. I said, now, if I'm a doctor and I'm smart enough, I'll tell the person sitting on the other side. When the lady appears, whom I have to do the sex determination, just sound my mobile bill. I'll do that. So that is integrity. So I think ultimately, if we are not able to use this with integrity, we might run the risk of ending up also not putting to optimal use so much of other governance models that came to us but got withered away, not because of reasons attributable to them, but the reasons attributable to those of us who had been assigned to handle them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for that insightful address and laying emphasis on the need for integrity, which is only possible through the idea of having human in the loop, something which also finds mention in the blueprint that we have just launched. With this, we come to the conclusion of the event. I extend my heartfelt gratitude and on behalf of Capacity Building Commission and Karmyogi Bharat. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, sir, dignitaries on the dais, and all those present here. Thank you so much. I now request the panelists also to just stay back for a quick minute for a photograph with the Honorable Minister, sir, and the dignitaries on the dais. Also, all present, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to Commission Karmyogi booth in Hall number 5. Thank you. Sir, please. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.